Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 3 Episode 10 Serpent Hunt. Love this episode without a doubt. I think it's going to be hard for an episode of the Turtles finally back in New York to even be, a bad episode. And this definitely wasn't a bad one. It had great action, especially that end fight scene. We got to actually see Karai. We didn't get to see nearly as much of her as I thought we were going to, and that's actually okay because there's actually a lot of extra stuff put into this episode, which I really just thought it was going to be the Turtles looking for Karai and they'd find her at some point, and then that would pretty much be it. I thought that was going to be the episode, but we got all three groups, or well, I guess we got three groups. I can't say all the groups because we didn't have the Krang in this one really, but we had three groups looking for Karai. We had the Turtles, we had the Foot, we had two people who ended up becoming characters that I think a lot of us have been waiting for a very long time, and it was pretty awesome. Like, I really loved the episode. Of course, I loved the ending because we finally got Bebop and Rocksteady. I didn't realize that these two characters, and I already forgot their names, all I remember is Ivan, and I can't think of the other guy's name, played by J.B. Smoove, and I like their characters. I actually like J.B. Smoove's character, who was like the crazy guy. I loved him when he was in the first episode. He was a really eccentric character. He's way over the top. But what I loved about his character was like his design looked really cool. He was like really tech based, and he had like these cool gadgets. He had like, for whatever reason, he had like laser mohawks that could shoot off. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. He had like the little laser things that shot right out of his shoes, so he could like basically skate across buildings. And he was actually a pretty cool character. He had like the big laser belt that shot in a bunch of directions. And he was cool in this episode, so was Ivan. And them working together trying to get out of the city. I think maybe halfway through it finally just clicked in my head, like, they're going to be Bebop and Rocksteady. Like, I was thinking, like, we got these two, random characters who were introduced in different episodes. They're both pretty cool in their own ways. And it was like, okay, we got both of them in the episode. They're trying to get out. And like I said, halfway through, it just finally clicked, like, oh, the really big guy, the skinnier guy, Bebop and Rocksteady. It just finally made sense, and of course we got that at the end of the episode, and I'm really excited to see them as a part of the team. It's going to be pretty cool. We got, the big two mutants. We got Bebop and Rocksteady, and really the only two that are kind of left now as far as the Foot goes, that I know of at least, are actually the ones that were introduced in like the live action movie, which basically replaced Bebop and Rocksteady, even though they shouldn't have in the old films. But those are really the only two that are missing now, and for anyone who may not have seen those, they were also in the arcade game Turtles in Time, and that was on Super Nintendo as well. But like the ice turtle and like the fire shooting dog, those are like the only two now that are kind of missing from the Foot mutant selection now. But it was such a good episode. Like I said, we got great action. I loved the dock fights. The coolest part was when like the thunder struck and they were just all standing there and stuff. That was really sweet. Not a lot of Casey and April in this episode, although they had like this tiny little moment where they sort of looked and then like they freaked out for whatever reason and looked away from each other. And April kind of smiled, and it's like that, kind of leaning towards the whole April Casey thing. It was like such a minor scene, but obviously with it being Ninja Turtles and knowing Casey and April, it means a lot when they show something like that. So that was a fairly interesting scene. Mikey getting the TV I thought was really funny, and like him celebrating and the fireworks and stuff was pretty cool. But it was just a great episode. There isn't too much really to say about it. It was just a great episode. It had great action. We got to see Karai. We got the little hint at the end of the episode with her saying Comet. So we're going to get to see them go kind of other places in the city. So that'll actually be pretty cool. And there might be other people because it's across the river. So it's not exactly... I mean, it's depending on which direction they're facing in. It could be still controlled by the Krang. It could just be like a totally separate area. Kind of like how New York used to be, where they have to hide and kind of jump around off of buildings and stuff and hide from the human people. Although in this case it would most likely be military, because they aren't just going to be like, yeah, regular, populated city right across the river from Krang-controlled New York. Even if they, put out news saying like, oh, everything's fine here and stuff like that. But I love the episode. Can't wait to see Bebop and Rocksteady. Seeing Karai was really good. I hope we get to see more of Casey and April in New York, because with them not being like the ninjas like the Turtles, they can't really do as much. They can't run around the city like they could in the woods, because they can't just like flip and dive and roll off of the buildings like the Turtles can. So it will be interesting to see, when they get implemented, how it ends up playing out, because they can't really do the same stuff. And that's why Leo said that, like, Turtles only, because it's a lot easier for us to get around than you guys. So I can't wait to see that. Love the episode. Something else, I've been meaning to mention this, I swear, I think since the beginning of this season, but the Turtle Blimp has been in the opening since the very beginning of this season, and I'm excited for them to put that in the series. I've, like, every episode I'd see it, I'd be like, I gotta talk about that. I always forget to, but I can't wait to see them use it. I love the Turtle Blimp. My only experience with it really is from the old 80s one. I'm sure it was in TMNT, but I don't remember it from TMNT, the 2003 series. But from the old 80s Turtle series, I remember those are like the 3 episodes I have on VHS. That's one of them. They use the Turtle Blimp. And, like, it can break off from the blimp. And it looks a little different in this series. It looks like an actual air balloon. So it's a little bit different. But I'm really excited to see them use that, and how well it actually works going up against the Krang and stuff like that. Because the old Turtle Blimp was like, it was kind of like the Goodyear blimp, but it had like a detachable piece where the turtles could basically just break it off, and it would plummet to the ground, but that was like an emergency situation type thing. But I'm excited for it to come into the show, because as crazy as it is, it's the Turtle Blimp, and it actually is a big part of the series. So I'm excited for that. But like I said, I love the episode. Want to know what you guys thought, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and of course, how excited are you guys about Bebop and Rocksteady officially being in the show? They had the concept art, I think, before this season even started, and I've just been waiting for them to come in, because it's, Bebop and Rocksteady. So of course I'm really excited, but I want to know what you guys think, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.